Hey writers, welcome to the Writing Lab with Eva Pohler. Hi, I'm Eva Pohler, a USA Today bestselling author of over 45 novels, a writing professor for over 3 decades, and an editor. And today we're here to talk about one of the most important aspects of good stories, character. Now, great plots may keep readers turning the pages, but it's unforgettable characters that make them fall in love with a story. So let's get started with the idea of what is character. Well, it's a persona. Sometimes it could be a creature or even an object that experiences events through the course of a story. And these characters are more than just names and roles. They're complex agents of change, and they must feel like real people. So E.M. Forster, in his book, Aspects of a Novel, characterizes character. And he describes them, first of all, as either flat or round. Flat characters being just one-dimensional. Usually these are background characters. They don't have a lot of aspects. We might know them as the waiter or the Uber driver, the teacher, somebody who is just there to serve a function in the story. Whereas round characters are multifaceted. We get to learn all kinds of things about them from maybe we know about, their family, we know about their occupation, we know about their loves and their hates and their desire. We get to know them on several different realms. So that's the difference between flat and round. But another paradigm that he creates are characters that are either static or dynamic. And static characters don't undergo change through the course of the novel, whereas dynamic ones do. And while usually a protagonist will be a dynamic character, it is possible to have one that is not. In a previous video on plotting and point of view, I believe, I discussed Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart. And in that story, he's a madman from the beginning to end. And it's the fact that he doesn't change, the fact that he's insistent that that he is innocent, even though he openly commits the murder, is important, right? That he remains unchanged. Whereas in The Storm by Kate Chopin, that's important that all the characters do change for the better. The storm came and everybody was happy. So, it's not necessary that a protagonist be dynamic, but usually they are. And characters experience what we call character arc. So your character is going to desire something, right? And there's going to be some antagonistic force that is stopping them from getting what they want. Okay? And that's the heart of conflict. And so really compelling characters will go through an arc, whether they'll show some kind of growth or transformation through this conflict, or some kind of fall, descent, or they may stay the same, but they change the world somehow. So that's something to keep in mind too. And you can tie the character growth to this 3-act structure that I talked about in a previous video, where you have that showing the character in the world, inciting event. So you establish the character in their world, and then boom, they're hit with some kind of change. And what do they make of it? Are they going to act right away? Are they hesitating? Do they need help? What resources do they have? Is there a friend they can go to? So you're showing your character when they're first hit with this inciting event. And then in the rising action, the challenges that they face, the setbacks, the successes, how do they react to those? So that's more character development. And then finally, in the climax, when they face and they have that final showdown and they face their truth, all of these things will help reveal the character as well as advance the plot. Now, other ways that you can create realism in your characters is to give them important characteristics. You want to give them contradictions. You want them to be flawed. You want them to surprise us. You want to avoid clichés. And these are 4 things that you can do. You can create different ways of speaking. Like maybe in my Mystery House series, Sue is a very Southern person who uses a Southern drawl when she speaks, and it is reflected in her dialogue. You can also give us some unique quirks or habits that your character has. Tanya in the Mystery House series is a very, very much like a tea herbalism, nature, save the butterflies kind of person. You can also give them complex backstories. Like Ellen has a kind of a strange relationship with her mother, who she thinks is cold and distant, and yet her mother is dying. And so there's that conflict of emotions going on with her. And then you can have conflicting values or fears, like they might value this honorable act, but they're afraid to do it. So those are all ways that you can make your characters deeper. Another thing, you want to make sure that you don't just tell us how your characters are feeling. You want to show it, right? I talked about show versus tell in a previous video and how scene is a great way to do this. Well, there's this book I highly recommend called The Emotion Thesaurus. It's by Ackerman and Puglisi. And this gives you excellent behaviors that will show a character's emotion. So instead of saying that a character is angry, you can show them with clenched fists or trembling lips, or their mouth is in a straight line. You know, all of this is in that book, and it's great to be able to experiment with these different behaviors that can show a character's emotion rather than you just narrate it, okay? And don't forget to download my free worksheet, 10 questions to help you build a complex character. The link is in the description. Characters are the heart of any story, so make sure they're complex, believable, and motivated by desire. Please let me know in the comments below who's your favorite fictional character and why. Don't forget to grab your freebie. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you can be notified of future videos. In the meantime, please keep writing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.